Respected leaders, managers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shekapan Kannan and it is my pleasure welcoming you all to the CII Carbon Intensity Indicator Product Plan Proposal. I have divided this presentation into four main stages, and also I have divided the problem into two parts. The first half of the problem, that is to answer the sales request, will be done in stage 1, whereas the second half of the problem, to plan a roadmap, will be done in stage 2 and stage 3. I have also added a stage 4, which I feel is essential. Before going into the presentation, I want to make one thing clear. Sales request does not mean we start building something right away. To justify and prioritize companies' resources wisely, stage 1, the initiative stage, need to be performed by a cross-functional team. Moving on, let's briefly look at the contents for today's presentation. Stage 1 will be the initiative stage on why should we build something. And stage 2 will be choosing the right thing to build. And stage 3 will be building it right. And stage 4 is to ensure the life cycle of the product. Stage 1, the decision making stage. Here we analyze the problem in four given aspects. Let's look at them one by one. The first and the most important part of this stage is the business case rationale. This is where we get the preliminary understanding of the request, the need, and the demand. This is also where we need to brainstorm and research for new and different product ideas. And something to remember here is that the idea can come from anyone, does not matter which team he or she belongs to. CII is the topic of today, the carbon intensity indicator. As we can see, CII is the amount of carbon dioxide emitted by a ship per ton capacity over 1 nautical mile of distance traveled annually. Two key things to be pointed out here is that the first calculation is to be reported by 31st March 2024. The second key thing to note here is, let's say by all the calculations this year the ship achieves a C rating which is acceptable, and the ship does not do anything to improve its efficiency continuously over the next 2 years, then what happens is, as IMO keeps raising the bars of the ratings year by year, a ship which is at C rating today without any continuous improvement can drop down to D or E in the next 2 or 3 years. This is the main reason why all key stakeholders are looking for a product which can instantly show us the rating of the ship before even fixing a voyage or a charter. Another part in the business case rationale is the performance measurements, monetary and non-monetary. What is the revenue potential if I bring in this product? And even if the revenue is low, will it at least increase our market share, or will we lose market share because of any mandatory regulations? Also, some sensitivity analysis, because today's market is highly uncertain. Next will be the competitive rationale. How are the competitors handling this? Are we early birds? Any failures to learn from, or will this product make us unique? That's important to know. Third one is the ability rationale. This is where we analyze whether we have the right amount of competence, infrastructure, and budget required for this particular solution or product. If we don't have it, whether we are willing to outsource or acquire. The fourth rationale will be the strategic rationale, and I believe that this rationale will be rightly served by the top management, who will finally sit down, review, and analyze whether this solution will add value to the journey of the company as a whole. And in most situations, a strong business case rationale will lead to a green signal. Now that we have answered the sales request and assuming that it's a green signal, let's move on to stage 2, where we make the choice of the right thing to build. First and the most important step of stage 2 is to understand the customers and understanding them in different regional markets, and also to hear it from policymakers, because they will give us the necessary insights of what might come up. And the best way to do this is a root cause analysis. And also, if possible, we should do some ship surveys, because most of the products that we build at the end of the day land on a ship in the hands of sailors. Also, here is where the sales and the customer success team can help us by bringing 2 or 3 clients on board as a focus group. Once we know the needs of the customers, then we go on to define the bare minimum and the add-on requirements for this tentative product. We need to remember that in order to adapt to the market changes, we need to know that the set of requirements can be modified at any time. That we have the requirements, we need to bring in the ideas from stage 1 and put them in weighted scorecard or a cost benefit analysis or a SWOT analysis to prioritize them and narrow down to one possible idea which we want to pursue. And at this point, we need to define what will we accept as success and define the key performance indicators. Once the product idea is chosen and the criteria is set, now is the time to align the whole company on what we are going to do, why, where, when, who, and how. This is where we need to be ready to take in opinions, criticism, and improvise. Now, we move on to the most daunting part of this journey, the implementation stage. The most important part of this stage is to build a roadmap. A roadmap in consultation with all possible internal stakeholders and the top management to ensure we are all aligned. And here is where we need to establish teams, identify the responsible people, and the duration, timelines, and the milestones for each task and their significance. Because CII is an evolving topic, I believe that the agile method will be the most suitable, as we don't have all the information we need to have a waterfall approach. And what we need to remember, and what is very critical, is to revisit the roadmap regularly. In front of us is a simple CII roadmap. I would like to point out 2 things here. One, once the roadmap is prepared, it needs to be continuously improvised and updated throughout the journey. The second point being, after the final release, within 1 month or so, we need to start developing the version 2. This will ensure that the product is agile. Once we have the basic minimum requirements and the acceptance criteria set, we need to start immediately to design a prototype. Bring it to the test bed as soon as possible and check the degree of acceptance against the criteria that we have set. If not acceptable, we take the learnings and start the process again. And if time permits, we need to make a beta prototype which we can take it to the focus group of clients to get some real user feedback. As the prototype is being built by the development team, now is the right time to engage the sales, customer success, and marketing teams for preparing a go-to-market strategy. Who is our target audience? How do we want to differentiate from others? What will be our pricing? What marketing, sales tools, campaigns, interviews, taglines are we willing to take? And something critical in the maritime industry is the global delivery and customer support channels. Once we have the prototype acceptable to the bare minimum requirements, is the time when we start straight away building the minimum viable product. This is not the full featured product as we anticipated, but this will ensure that we immediately reach the market. And something important in this building process is the feedback trust mechanism with the development team in terms of daily, weekly, monthly meetings, clear milestones, timelines, and continuous improvement. And also on the other side, it is very important to keep all other teams informed of the status and the expectations of this product. Another key element in this stage is the testing process. The unit and integration testing needs to be done at every module, whereas the system and user acceptance testing needs to be done as the candidate product is being prepared for the final release. Something very important for the maritime industry in testing is the redundancy. What backup do we have to most of the uncertainties that we can expect of? After all that hard work is the time to celebrate when the product is finally released. But these celebrations will not last for long as we move on to stage 4, the life cycle management of the product. Remember that in the last stage we built only a minimum viable product. So now is the time to get the feedback from our customers and go back to stage 3, start building our full featured product along with any improvisations from the feedback that we have received. This process needs to be continued again and again and again till the time there is interest in the market. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, having a strong business case, being agile, being adaptable, being aligned, and maintaining a strong feedback and trust mechanism with the internal and external stakeholders will ensure a clear success of the product manager. Thank you.